Adesanya come up in weight, I don't think that would sit very well with fight fans.
I don't think that he chose to go to heavyweight and had Isreal as any part of the equation. So Isreal is calling for this fight, and the fans are kind of interested in it. You know, I'm not going to lie, I'm interested in it too. At light heavyweight, I would be interested in it. At heavyweight, I'm not interested in it. That's just ridiculous to ask someone to go up 2 weight classes. But it's Isreal who wants that fight really bad, not Jon Jones. So I get it. Like, if I'm Jon Jones and he is working to put on all this weight and he's left the 205-pound division and he can be the heavyweight champion, why would Jon Jones follow the lead of Isreal Adesanya? Just because someone is chasing you doesn't mean you're running from them.
Yeah, no, some of the same faces at the top of this division, but a lot of new ones as well. And I think Islam was a guy that, is obviously on the rise, and we're going to be interested to see how he'd do against someone like you. What do you think about how the division is different compared to when you left it?
Yeah, the division, a lot of new guys. It's been changing a lot. All like the top 5 guys, they really like cautious to take the next step. It's been kind of a very strategic game playing by then. Back on the days, like everybody fight everybody. I believe we don't have those rankings, and I think these days people are like really cautious to the next step. Nobody want to take any fight because they want to wait for someone else to take the fight, to wait for someone else's results. And I think that it slowed down the division a lot. Fighters gotta fight. You can't just hide behind rankings and trying to pick the best fight, the best match, and waiting for results for fights that is still on the paper. And fighters gotta go there and fight.
Yeah, and that's kind of what helped you make your run towards the title the first time around, being so active. I'm curious though what you think of this fight with Paul Felder now. Do you like this matchup better than Islam? Because we commend you for taking all these fights against wrestlers and guys that are trying to take you down, but it seems like Paul is going to be the first guy you faced in a while whose first strategy is to stand with you.
Yeah, I was training for a softball wrestler, and Paul Felder jumped in. I met him, and I think he's a really cool guy. It was really good for him, for us. Now we saved the show by him stepping in on a 5 days notice. But he's a striker, orthodox, and it changed for me a little bit. But I'm pretty sure we're gonna put on a great show for the fans.
Open.
Hi, you obviously said previously there about the decision to move back down to lightweight, but I'm curious because you expressed an interest before in getting a fight rebooked with Conor. Are you hoping that could still be a possibility down the line if you get back into the win column on Saturday?
I just want to clarify, Conor McGregor is not my goal. I don't want to I'm not fighting. I'm not dropping back to lightweight division to fight Conor. It's not my goal. I want to fight for the belt. Whoever has the belt, I will fight. While Khabib leaving the division, I think he will leave the division wide open. And if you look, my focus is 100% on Paul Felder on Saturday. But like you said, being back at the win column, I think if you look to these top 5 guys, you look at Ferguson, Gagey, and Poirier, they all entered former interim champions. The only two guys that was for former champions was me and Conor. And Khabib leaving that division, I think that fight could be a good fight for the vacant belt.
Yeah, definitely. And then what do you think about his return, and how do you think he does in his rematch against Poirier?
I think he beat him once. I think Conor is a very good striker. And I think it's a good matchup for him. Poirier is a good matchup for him.
And does that up the pressure for you at all going into Saturday to get back into the win column against Paul Felder?
Sorry, can you say it again, please?
Does it up the pressure for you at all going into Saturday with Paul Felder coming on such short notice? Do you feel any added pressure because of any of the circumstances?
No, fight's a fight. Every fight's the fight of your life. I've been putting a lot of work for the past 8 months, and of course I feel pressure, but like that's part of the game. I don't think anybody step on that octagon without a pressure.
We haven't really seen, though, recently as many world-class wrestlers go into MMA. Is the money in wrestling getting better and better, where they're no longer really like making MMA their only way to make money in combat sports?
Yeah, for sure. It's improved a significant amount over the last decade. When I first arrived into the freestyle scene, there were guys, making 25, 30 grand for an entire year of competition and training, and their assistant coaches on the sides. So I think that there was a multitude of guys that wanted to make a transition in the early phase of the UFC because they saw greener pastures outside of wrestling. Wrestling is a difficult sport. It's not sexy, not glamorous. There's not a star-studded event with celebrities sitting ringside. So it was a much more appealing sport to go into in terms of MMA. So I think that at this point, you recognize that wrestlers can make a living wage. You can make a decent amount of money. You can have a following. You can brand and market yourself, and you don't have to get kicked in the head and punched in the face. It's a pretty sweet deal.
So you think Thiago, either that knee or knees aren't fully healed, or he doesn't have the confidence in their structural integrity to do something as debilitating on those knees like a 360 kick?
Me and Thiago share a physical therapist, and I talked to his manager, he's healed 100%. After you tear an ACL, LCL, MCL, and then they do all those surgeries and you do all the rehab, any doctor will tell you that your knee is now stronger than it was before. The problem is you never feel the same. It's not worse or any better. It's just different. The only way you can get comfortable doing that stuff again is to do it at fight speed. And that's kind of the John Jones effect, I think a similar thing happened to Dominic Reyes. I think that a lot of it's mental. And I think that Thiago just learned a lot of that. You talked a lot, I believe, about Reyes walking around like he was the uncrowned champion because everyone said, they thought he beat him. And a lot of people believe that Thiago won, and he was walking around feeling like he won. And instead of coming back, finding an opponent that's a perfect matchup for you to be able to get in there and feel yourself out and really get used to your new body in a live go situation. Training's one thing. You can spar all you want. It's never the same as it is when you're in there. So I don't for a second think Thiago Santos is done. I think that he needs to get comfortable again. I think he needs to get, as funny as it sounds, he needs to get his legs under him a couple times in those fight situations, and not against a guy who's as dangerous as Glover. You got to be able to give yourself some room to fuck up and not be a fight ending situation, because after the first round, Thiago Santos was done. You can't have a guy like Glover Teixeira on top of you for multiple minutes grinding and passing your guard and you really having no answer for it and expect to win when you're not a grappler. As hurt and as exhausted and as tired as I was, Glover didn't slice through my shit like that. He wasn't getting to those kind of dominant positions as easily as he was. You got to shore that hole up, but you also have to give yourself a chance, coming off of an injury like that.